It is Black Monday 2025 edition. The stock market continues to get crushed as a result of the shocking tariffs imposed by the Trump administration last Wednesday. The Japanese stock market was down 7% today. The Shanghai Composite was down 9%. The S&P futures are currently down 3.6%. Bitcoin is at 76K, Ethereum's at 1,500, and Solana looks like it's barely holding on to $100. Personally, I think it's clear that Trump is intentionally crashing the stock market to force the Fed's hand. If the economy slides into a recession, one of the only tools the US government has is lowering interest rates, just like they did in 2008 and 2020. So why does Trump want lower rates? First of all, the US has $9.5 trillion in debt that needs to get rolled over in 2025. If interest rates are lower, that means they pay out a lot less interest. Businesses will also flourish because they can access more capital cheaper. They'll be able to hire more people and invest in more projects. It's also no secret that mortgage delinquencies are rising and credit card debt is at all-time high. Trump's not even trying to hide his real intentions. On Friday, he tweeted, "This would be a perfect time for Fed Chairman Jerome Powell to cut interest rates. He is always late, but he could now change his image and quickly." Because this crash is being almost entirely manufactured, I think we can pump back to all-time highs just as fast, and your signal for that will be if the Fed has an emergency rate cut. That being said, Trump is making a big gamble here. If the Fed stands their ground, the tariffs are going to cause an insane amount of damage to the world economy and even more so to Americans. Companies like Nike that rely heavily on cheap foreign labor have thinner margins than you might imagine, and a 46% tariff on all goods coming from Vietnam, which is where they produce all of their footwear, it's going to make their costs skyrocket. These tariffs will absolutely push some American companies to the edge of bankruptcy that otherwise would be okay. Personally, I think when the Fed does pivot, that these tariffs will be removed. Let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree with these policies. Peace.
The futures market is down about 1,500 points right now, and that is not what we wanted to see. In all likelihood, it could plunge as much as 2,500 points Monday morning. Now, it'll really depend on what happens in early morning trading. Is there momentum on the way down? If there is, we could see 2,500 points down or more. It will all depend if we get an afternoon bounce. If that afternoon bounce is not there, the rally on down could be on. If the rally on down is on, yeah, you could be looking at 2,500 to 3,000 points tomorrow. And once again, I know that's going to scare everyone, but this is the thing to keep in mind. For many top tier stocks in top categories, look for opportunities on the way down. I know this is a scary time, but it's not down forever. This is just a temporary problem. Let's hope Washington makes some smart moves over the next few days and gets rid of these tariffs. We're going through this and we don't have to. Like and follow for more.
I don't want to be dramatic, but this might be one of the most important TikTok videos you ever see, or that I ever make for my nearly 600,000 social media followers. This is my original 2008 recession investing wish list. All the way back in 2008, when I was just 23 years old, I said, everyone's panicking about the stock market. Now seems like a great time to buy some stocks. Dow futures are down, S&P 500 futures are down, Nasdaq futures are down. Currently, these are futures. Tonight is Sunday. It is 8:02 p.m., April 6th. And this right here is the headline from Jim Cramer. He warns of a Black Monday-style market crash over Trump's tariffs rivaling the 1987 collapse. If you're not aware, the Dow Jones dropped over 22% in 1987. Now, I don't know if markets are going to drop 22% tomorrow, but all signs are pointing to mass panic. And as we all know, panic is a great time to invest. Well, what if this time is different? Shut up. That's what they say every time. Every time they say this time's different, and every time markets have recovered. What was on my 2008 wish list doesn't matter. It was over 20 years ago. You can see it here, and you can go right here and read the article on my wish list. But you should also go to my homepage. You won't have this draft here, so the pinned videos will all be 3 at the top. But one of these here says how to create a recession investing wish list. If you click on my playlists, you will find this recession investing playlist. Go watch it. By the time I post this video, it won't be any later than 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. That gives you a couple hours to start really buckling down, doing some research, and formulate your own recession investing wish list for 2025. Now look, markets could get a lot worse, or they could come out tomorrow and reverse course and say, okay, never mind, we won't do it, which I doubt, but anything is possible these days. The whole idea here is to slowly accumulate. So I bought some stock last week, and everyone's going, you should have waited until Monday. Nobody knows what's gonna happen. Nobody knows when things will get better, what the bottom will be. So my whole strategy is buy a little. If markets get worse, I buy a little more. If markets get worse, I buy a little more. And I'm not rolling the dice. We're talking about high quality investments here, not penny stocks that you think could, maybe, might make you a millionaire. If you don't have a brokerage account, I use Charles Schwab. Anyone will do. Really, they're all basically the same. I mean, I might not use like Cash App to buy my stocks or whatever, but any Fidelity, E-Trade, it doesn't matter. They're all basically fine. People have their preferences. I like this one better. It doesn't matter their preferences. I'm not trying to panic you guys into like rushing to open an account and buying some stock, but it really is important. We all know that most millionaires make the majority of their money in the markets when everyone else is panicking. And look, recessions are bad. Nobody is out here saying, I can't wait for, well, some people are out here saying it, but you shouldn't be rooting for a recession. People lose their jobs, their homes, their healthcare, their benefits, their investments, maybe their businesses. This is not something to poke fun at or celebrate. But at the same time, we have to be honest here and recognize that there is a real potential here to find some really high quality stocks at a severe discount. If you went to the grocery store and Doritos were on sale, 30% off, you wouldn't say, you'd grab a bag of Doritos. Shoes, 30% off, you'd grab a pair of shoes. So why not the same with high quality investments? Smash the follow. I might go live tomorrow at some point throughout the day if markets are in real turmoil to kind of put everyone's mind at ease, especially the younger investors who are panicking for absolutely no reason. Smash that follow, stay tuned, see you later.
Alrighty guys, within the last 25-30 minutes or so, Dow Jones futures and Russell 2000 futures have both plummeted even more, losing 1,500 points for Dow and nearly 7% for Russell. I just have to remember, half the country wanted this. Half the country wanted this. For the other half, listen up. So a lot of people around the world, Wall Street is going to be the eyes and focus tomorrow on Monday, because it's a new week, new opening, and a lot of people are very fearful that it is going to replicate in October 19, 1987 Black Monday. Black Monday is known for the biggest loss in stock market history, beating 1929, where it was almost, I think, 12%. October 19, 1987 had the largest single plunge of 22.6% on the market. And there's a reason why a lot of investors are focusing on tomorrow, because as you can see, the replica from 1987 to now, we're already here. We're just waiting for tomorrow for Black Monday to hit, and it is going to go down. So it can either repeat itself, or we may even surpass the 1987 Black Monday. See, my thing that I just don't understand is that people voted for this. They wanted this to happen. They are eating their own foot. Now we all have to suffer for their stupidity. It blows my mind. All you had to do was vote for a Black woman candidate who was the most qualified compared to this psychopath, wannabe dictator, convicted felon. And now look what we're all dealing with. We are going to deal with the highest prices we have ever seen. And remember that when you kept saying that you couldn't afford anything under Joe Biden, just wait. You will not be able to afford anything under Trump going forward. And I hope you realize that. But apparently to MAGA, that's good. That's good. We got to lose money to gain money, blah, blah, blah. Where was that saying when Joe Biden was president? Oh, no, that's not how that works. That's right. Duh. I just have to remember that if a Democrat would have lost $10 trillion in the stock market within 72 hours, MAGA would have been demanding impeachment, probably do another January 6th attack. But because Daddy Trump's doing it, it's okay. Daddy Trump gets to boss us around, and we can't sleep, eat, think, or do anything without Daddy Trump telling us what to do. Wake up. You're in a cult. I really do hope that your retirement plans are tanking right now. I really do hope that your 401ks and other savings that you have are going down the toilet, and you can thank Daddy Trump for it.
Breaking news that you need to know about. Stock futures just opened up a few minutes ago and the rout is continuing. We were down 8% last week and 13% overall going into today. And now it looks like the market might be down by 16% starting tomorrow. And all of this is due to the reciprocal tariffs that Trump announced on Liberation Day last week, which we found out are not really reciprocal tariffs because all of these numbers here are trade deficits, not how much tariffs these countries have on us. And while I want to celebrate the lower interest rates because that is a good thing for the housing market, which has been savagely unhealthy, guys, who do you think suffers when we go into a recession? It's not the rich. And lower mortgage rates won't do anything for you if you don't have a job. And just to highlight how out of touch this administration is, the Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said Americans looking to retire aren't concerned about day-to-day markets. I think it's just a little bit dismissive to refer to a 20% drop in the stock market as just regular day-to-day action. I mean, if you're trying to retire right now and you just saw your portfolio drop by 15-20%, that's a problem. The S&P 500 is literally back to January 2024 levels. And even though that's not the end of the world to lose 1 year of gains, it's not a good sign because I don't think these tariffs are going to go anywhere and it looks like things are about to get worse. Coffee, bananas, cereal, eggs. Most of the things we have on a day-to-day basis are coffee, eggs, bananas, cereal, furniture, whatever. Everything that we get pretty much in this consumer-based economy is imported. So these tariffs are going to be felt across the board. And let's not forget that prices have been high for a while. People are getting squeezed right now to begin with. And the thought of paying more for all this stuff that we're using every day, I don't know how people are going to survive if these tariffs aren't undone immediately. But hey, this is what America wanted, right? Make sure you give me a follow for more updates.
Man, they're pushing this narrative hard. So, Black Monday sell-off could take the market down 8,000 points. Everywhere you look, this is what you're seeing. Market crash coming tomorrow. But I will ask you this. When in history have we ever advertised the stock market crash before it happened? I'm just wondering, because usually what makes a crash so devastating is that when it happens out of nowhere, right? Like, they're very much giving you a time for a crash. When the fuck does that happen? Ever? So, this narrative being pushed super hard. We'll find out what futures open at in about an hour, less than an hour, and then we'll have a little bit of clarity. We still have a lot of after hours to get through. You have Asia session and you have the UK session, which is what I'm interested in. And then we have New York session tomorrow, and we'll see where we're sitting at. But think about that. And I want legitimate answers. When in history have they ever told you the date of a stock market crash? So don't do dumb shit, guys. Love you. Bye.
What's good, guys? The fear and greed index is at absolute fear. So what does that mean? Your boy is buying. Market open tomorrow, I think, is going to be pretty brutal. I think we're going to have extreme sell-offs. It's going to be pretty volatile, especially for the stock market. I think this next week and a half is probably going to be the same way. But like all good comes with bad, all bad does come with some good. We are getting discounts. Obviously, crypto is still pretty volatile. I think I'm going to cool off on that just for at least a month or so, just to see where the market goes. But Nasdaq, S&P, definitely getting bought up 100% this week. All the income I've been making from the personal training business is definitely going to go into this, because historically, over the last 96 years, anytime the S&P 500 has a horrible year, like down 20 to 25%, the next year, always, every single time, has been a boom. I would rather throw my money in there right now and in 1 year come back to it with 20 to 25% gains than put it in there right now and come back to it in a year in a high yield savings with only 4.5%. Remember, chess, not checkers.